Hey, this is Debbie.
This is Tricia.
Yeah, and we want to welcome you to
Your life
Your Life
redefined
Redefined. Yes, it's Your Life Redefined, and this is episode one, Tricia,
of infinity.
of One of Infinity. I'm excited to be here. This has been how many years in the making?
we're guessing 13 or more. I don't know.
No, infinity. No,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. We
no,
just had never
but
put it out in a podcast.
that's it. But it's been 13 years.
It's
Mhm.
you and it's me. It's like the girl said in the coffee shop the other day when she came up and said, I don't even know what y'all were talking about because I had my earbuds in, but I just love your energy. Isn't that what she
Yeah.
said?
Yeah. She said you guys are having a good time and all that stuff. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. So how was your visit the other day when you and I caught up? That's what I want to know what you thought. I came away so full.
Oh, me too. Me too. You know what though? I wanted to bring this up.
Yeah.
Is when told you that you do light language
Yeah.
and when I told you that's you channeling that you had an effect from that. You had an
Hmm.
emotional effect reaction to that. Why?
Why? I don't know if it's a why or what came up. I don't know why it was I don't know if it's called an emotional effect. My body responded to it energetically. I literally felt something in my throat. Um yeah, my
I
body
mean, it
was
was
just
beautiful. I just didn't know. I wanted to say, but you know you're channeling, right?
Mhm. I
Yeah.
I feel I know it. I did not ever hear it like that before. I've always called it downloads. Oh, hey, I got this download. I got this download. Um, and to me, now that you're asking me that, is I just viewed those as different now that you're asking me that. A download is like, hey, it's like your box story. It's like, hey, here's your gift that I'm giving you for this moment. Um, versus yeah, I didn't view it as channeling. That's
Oh
probably
yeah.
why the response.
But this is what I want to say is I think everybody has the ability to channel. Um, it's where we start closing it off. Okay, well, you know how, like, when I think when babies are born, I believe they still remember everything, but they have no way
Yeah.
of communicating it to everybody. And
Yeah.
then as they get older and when they start actually being able to verbalize things, then that closes off and they forget. However, those kid prodigies and stuff like that, they
Mm-hmm.
don't forget or it didn't close all the way. And
Yeah.
so the ones who can play Beethoven at 2, or there's this little boy right now on the internet that he can do math. He did like pi up to 87, did,
Oh wow.
decimals past the decimal point. He can do any kind of calculations. He can't even speak hardly, but he can do all this math.
Do that.
So I think all of our abilities to channel, like we were just talking about JJ Gray and Mofro, I believe he's channeling when he is in the zone of
Mm-hmm.
music. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's what people call being in the zone. So whether they're an artist painting, a musical artist, a writer, an author, but I know what you're saying about downloads because I've always called my daily download, that's what I call
Yeah.
that I get. And
Yeah.
for anybody that doesn't know, daily download for me is I do 3 minutes of breath work and then what comes through, it is not of me, not of Tricia that's in this
Yeah.
package, but it's
Yeah.
of my higher self, which we all
Yeah.
have a higher self and we're all
Yeah.
guided.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you there. And I just for me, the response was hold on a second. I didn't have that on. The response for me, yeah, was that it was just it was a confirmation is
Yeah.
what it felt. I resonated with it. It wasn't a pushing away.
Oh, no, no. I didn't see it as
Yeah.
pushing away. In fact, I thought it was beautiful, but I thought it was the way you reacted. It was like you didn't know that.
Yeah. No, yeah. And I can agree with you there because I didn't term it that until
But it
it
was,
made sense after. So yeah.
well, it's beautiful and I appreciate it anytime that you do it for me.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So, can I tell you, I got to tell you something.
Yeah.
So, in my breathwork class, I might have mentioned this, that one of the mentees I had is a neurosurgeon who is now she's a breathwork facilitator,
Mhm.
but she's doing a study on how breathwork can actually help with opioid dependencies. It's
Oh,
something
wow.
that
Okay.
she's gonna. The goal is to try to get breathwork paid for by insurance companies. But anyway, she had recommended, because I said, "How did you get into breathwork?" Because I mean, neurosurgeon, physician,
Breath work.
right. And she told me it was during the pandemic and how she's in New York City Hospital, and how she everybody was panicking and stuff, and they would place one song when somebody would get off the ventilator. They would play one song called "Just Breathe," and she started just breathing because they were going into severe, you know,
Depression.
yeah,
Mhm.
anxiety and depression.
Anxiety.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what led her to breath work, because she saw that it was actually helping. And now she's going to, like I said, she's using it with her
Yeah.
spinal patients. But anyway, she said, and there was a book by Deepak Chopra that led her, it helped support the science part, the
Yeah.
science. Okay, so like me and you, we just know intuitively. We've always just known, and ours is more
Hmm.
coming, or me. I'm going to speak for me now. Comes more from what I've always considered the woo woo side. I'm a little
Yeah.
weird, a little different, and it's what I haven't
Hmm.
accepted for so long. But anyway, so I said I'm going to download that book. I listened to it all the way to Gulf Shores and all the way back, and I about cried in a couple of places because it is the science that supports everything that we know to be true. Every download that I
Yeah.
receive in the mornings that I don't know where it comes from, it's like supported in that book. And so I sent her
Hmm.
a text and I said, thank you so much for recommending the book, The Quantum Body by Deepak Chopra. And she said, well, I'm glad you liked it, but that's not the book I recommended.
What book did what book did she say she recommended?
I think it was Quantum Healing, which was a book of his from a long time ago, which I need
That
to
is
now listen to that, I'm
that
sure.
is too funny.
But at some points in that book that I was listening to, the download that I received that day, or what I had, it
Yeah.
was almost word for word what he was saying.
Wow.
I'm sending old Deepak a message saying, "Hey, dude, I got your woo for all your science."
That's good. Well, because the reason why it's so funny, have you seen this one yet?
No, what is that?
Okay. So Deepak actually, she quotes him up at the top, but this one's called The Source, and it's The Secrets of the Universe, the Science of the Brain. It's by Tara Swart, Swart. She is a neuroscientist, psychiatrist, and the senior lecturer at MIT. It's us. It's the
It's this.
neuroscience of all of that we do.
Well, I'm so glad quantum physics and stuff is
Has
catching
caught
up to
up.
us.
That's it. I know, I just hung up the phone with a client. At the beginning of our clients, we take them through a breathing exercise. And all it is for us, Janelle leads it, but it's like if they breathe in 4, it's out for 8. She calls
Mm.
it something, but that's it. And it's so, and these are, men and ladies coming to this call that they're mechanical engineers coming. And so it's neat for them to do it. And they'll say, man, that felt really good, and then we're able to just bring it in. And then today, of course, we were talking about how your thoughts lead to an emotion, which lead to an action. And then all that's about energy. And they just were eating it up. And they're getting it because science is catching up. And it's always been there.
That's exactly what my download was about today, and
Oh,
how
wow.
what it said something about and I never can paraphrase it correctly because it sounds so eloquent whenever it comes in. And, and I do it in 10 minutes. And I mean, I receive it in
That's
10 minutes,
awesome.
but then when I try to tell it, so it said that the universal code is unlocked by one thing, and that's love. Love is the key to everything,
Mm,
but then we get off kilter because our thoughts lead to actions that may be a little bit off of the vibration, or maybe a lot off of the vibration,
yes,
and that's what causes disconnect.
that's it.
When all we have to do, it said, if you're like a tub or a vessel, if you take the plug out, we all naturally return to source. We all came from source, and we're all going to return to source as soon as we let go and be natural about it. So it's like
Yes.
pulling the plug.
Yes. Yes, it is. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And so today's whole class, it was the first class around what is your first thought, right? Because the thought is where it starts long before the action. And so one of the sayings that I tell them, because it's about leadership training, right? But I tell them, I can't teach you to communicate. I cannot teach you any of this stuff if you don't understand your own thoughts, your own beliefs, right? Your own emotions and actions, ultimately your energy. So one of the statements I tell them is, your team is a reflection of you. So if you do not have accountability on your team, where in your own leadership are you giving them permission to not be accountable?
Okay.
Okay.
Can you say that again?
Yeah. Your team is a reflection of you.
Okay.
So if your team, let's say, is struggling with accountability, where in your leadership have you given them permission that they don't need to be accountable? Right? You're leading that. You're teaching them that they don't need to be accountable. If your team always comes to you and can't move without your approval, where are you teaching them that you're their Google? Right? But yet it's the thing that aggravates you.
Well, and also just what you said, that your team is a reflection, yes, on corporate, but it's on anything. So if you're in line at a supermarket and there's somebody nasty or ugly in front of you, whatever, in line in the traffic, whatever, guess what? You're
Yeah.
on the same vibrational level, because it's my belief and my knowing that if you're on the higher vibe level, you will only run into people that are kind of on that same high vibe level. So if you have
Mm-hmm.
something that is reflecting in front of you, you got to go,
Mm-hmm.
where did that come
Oh,
from?
that's interesting.
Because
Now, see, I
it,
teach that totally different. That's cool. Go ahead.
but
I
it,
see it as, because we can't control other people.
mm-mm.
So I'll say we are all leaders. What are we leading? So what level of energy are you leading? So you have if you're in the grocery line, someone has an attitude, you can let them lead you and go to that level, or you lead them. Make
That
sense?
that is true. But you've got something vibrational going on, or you wouldn't see them. But now, how you react,
That,
just like
yeah,
what you
I agree. You wouldn't see it, or you wouldn't
wouldn't
even,
notice it.
yeah.
And it's the
Hmm.
same thing as like in history or herstory, whichever
Yeah.
one you want to call it, that there could be 10 people that see this very same event, and it'll be recorded way differently. And it's just
Yeah.
what were they seeing? What were they feeling? One person might see it as a negative, one person might see it as positive, you know?
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. So
So just
it's just
so,
neat.
yeah,
Go
and
ahead.
just so everybody knows that, can I say this unequivocally? That Debbie and I both believe that everything is 100% energy. So
Yeah.
it's like all the way down to like what we used to think the atom was the smallest thing you could see. Well, it's going down into the quantum level where it's really,
Yeah.
there's nothing. You can't see it.
Mm-mm.
It's a vibration.
Yeah. It all is. Energy is energy is energy. Yeah, it's crazy. It's energy. And when you can start seeing it like that, your life changes,
Yeah.
literally changes. When you see emotions as energy. You see thoughts as energy, belief systems as energy. One of the things I read in the book today, that source, I read it actually. It was one of those flip it open and there it was. It was right there again. Encouraging well, here it is. Neuroplasticity is directed by repetition. So whether it's for good or for ill, right? So whatever, I call it catabolic, anabolic. I don't say positive, negative, because we have to have both, right? You can't make energy. So catabolic energy, people call it negative, but our brain says, oh, negative's bad. And it's like, no, it has a purpose. So it's
If
not
you,
bad.
right. And if
Go
you can
ahead.
think of it like a battery, like if you look at one of those little,
It's a light bulb, right? The
well,
negative, positive charge.
but you know,
Yeah.
those kind of batteries that have the both things on the top, a positive and a
Mm-hmm.
negative, and you can't have the power without both.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the other thing in today's download, it said everything is mathematical too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, geometric and that code that it was talking about, but it said your smile is the
Mm-hmm.
equivalent of the equal sign. You know, it kind of
Oh, that's
brings it
cool.
brings the negative and the positive together.
Together. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. The battery is a great analogy. I always say Thomas Edison gave us the best invention because for the light bulb, when the light bulbs come on, we get our aha moments, right? For the light bulb to come on, a negative positive charge has to go into the light bulb. That's the only way that's the power. That's the only way it comes on.
See, but that's above where my comprehension of
You
my
just said it in the battery.
I can see it on a battery because it's got the two little things on top or the positive, you know, I can see that. But a light, I think of it comes from that light switch right there on your wall. Flip it
Pull
on
that
there.
thing off. There's two wires coming in there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm married to
See?
an electrician, but
Ah, aha. That's your aha, the light. You see the light. Ah.
I like that. Okay.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you see the light comes on. So and that's how it is in our life. If we don't have both, like you don't know you need love if all you saw was love. If all you were in was love, you would not know that love was love.
Because that's the way it is when we're at source, and that's why we come here. That's what it said today. Oh my gosh.
That's right.
Is because
And
if
that's why
we
you drugged me down here. I was doing totally fine.
okay, can I tell that story?
Yeah, tell that
Okay,
story.
I'll tell you this real quick. So, I don't know how many years ago it was, 20, 25, something.
Ah, a long time
I
ago.
I was having a surgery and I didn't almost die. Nobody said I almost died, but I went. I went and it was a black sky with billions of stars. And I remember immediately thinking, but what about my kids? And then thought, nope, they're on their own journey. And it was like I couldn't wait to get to wherever it was I was going. Immediately, I knew quantum physics. I knew everything. And it was like, wow, I could have done this. I could have had that. It was like all you had to do was reach up and grab it. Everything
Mm,
you could have anything you wanted. And I remember thinking, dang it, I wish I'd known it while I was there. But, you know, oh well, I couldn't wait. I zoomed towards this light being and we communicated telepathically,
mm,
right? And
mm-hmm.
as soon as and I don't even know, I can't remember what we said, but I knew that it was like it was just pure love. That's all I could feel. Pure love and pure ecstasy. It was all so simple. Well, the next thing I know, the doctor's pushing my face like this, you know, not waking me up. He was still doing surgery, so you know, no big deal. And when I came to, I knew that what had happened to me was, I mean, it was a paradigm shift. I didn't know what to do
Mm.
with it. I didn't want to tell anybody about it because that really sounds crazy, right? So I don't know if it was a few weeks or a week or whatever later. I went into this sandwich shop in LaGrange, and you tell me if you remember differently because memories are
Mm-hmm.
always different. And the sandwich shop wasn't even open. They were doing a soft opening or whatever. And I didn't know that. So I went and they said, oh, yeah, we'll sell you a sandwich anyway. So I get the sandwich. There's one other person in the restaurant. Is that correct? I think it was, and
Mm-hmm.
it was Debbie, which I didn't really know Debbie. I mean, her kids played soccer with my kids, you know. And she said, do you want to sit down with me? And I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I didn't want to, but what am I going to say? There's all these blank tables. No, I'm going to sit over here. So I was like, okay, because I was kind of in a
Mm,
hurry. And I sit down and I remember taking a bite out of the sandwich and looking up, and I was just like, I mean, I get chill bumps just talking about Deb. I knew it was her. Debbie was the light being that I connected with there. And I
mm.
remember thinking, what the hell am I going to do with this? I mean, eating the sandwich. And finally I just said,
I
listen,
gotta go.
no, I said, I got to tell you something. And I told her, and this is all I remember. Tell me if this is wrong. No, don't tell me, because this is the way I remember it and I want to remember it this
Yeah.
way. Debbie, all she said was, I know this to be true. And from then on, she's my soul sister. There's nothing else. I mean, I don't care if we don't talk for a year. I saw her the other day, first time in 7 years. Seven, something about that number. Um, and it's like we've never been apart.
Right.
And and no matter what, I'm always going to be there for her, because I know that this lifetime right here is so, it's this. And
Hmm.
then when we get back, it's going to be, oh, hey, woo, pew, that was great. That was fun. High five.
Let's go again.
Yeah. This time,
Go.
will you be my mom? Or
Yeah.
next time, will you be my husband, for all I know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is how I know that can really happen. Well, there's so much more. But anyway, now I do QHHT, which is quantum healing hypnotherapy technique, right? And it's past life regressions.
Hmm.
And when I do them, I've been shocked at the things that people have experienced, and they're in the past life, and it's like they are there 100%. And you're not always the same sex. You're not always a human.
Hmm.
You may be an animal. I've had a tree.
Mm.
I've had
Hmm.
I've had a bug. So now, guess what? I can't freaking kill a bug, because I know.
I know.
How
Yep.
ridiculous is that?
No, I don't kill bugs either. I freak out. I go, Jason, get this bug, because it's in a life for it's in that world. That's their,
Yeah, but
yeah.
I used to would have squashed a bug in a minute.
I know.
But now I can't. But anyway.
Yeah, it's like shoo, 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 go. I saw one last night and I said, Jason, get that bug out of here.
So is that how you remember it?
He told me not to tell you. Yes, that's
Okay.
exactly how I
Okay.
remember
Okay.
it.
Okay. Thank God. Because I mean,
That's too funny.
that would be
I
terrible if it
actually,
wasn't.
no, I actually don't have super, super like vivid memories like you do at that moment. My memories of you is you weren't my life, and then all of a sudden you were in my life. And it was just this intense relationship. And um in that journey that we've been on. Because when we met, I was in such a crazy place.
Oh, and now look at
Finding
you.
myself. I was in a crazy
I mean,
place.
so I have to believe, or I hope,
Hmm.
that that had something to do with it. When you knew you are huge, you're big, you were my who I connected with.
Hmm.
It also makes me know that part of us is still
There, yeah.
there, right? And
Or,
is
mhm.
guiding us like little breadcrumbs. So now that I'm fully embodying this, because now I didn't accept that for many, many years. In fact, I hid from that because I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be normal. I wanted to, whatever.
Mhm,
So I
mhm,
drank a lot.
mhm.
And and then it was just taken away from me. I call it, somebody said this to me one day, and I was like, that's exactly it. I had spontaneous sobriety.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, it just went away. Now, I drank a lot. It's not like, oh, she drank a few beers here and there. No, I didn't. Um, but it went away. And when that went away, everything just started lining up. My downloads came daily. Uh, I went and did ayahuasca in Costa
Yeah.
Rica. A few weeks later, a bear came to me in a vision with a ancient Peruvian woman and let me know that breath work was to be my modality this go around. I'm a corporate woman.
Yes.
But I believed it. I believed it. I
Yeah.
knew it to be true. And so I've been walking this magical life. It's like I'm on a little path, and as I step into the path, flowers are just popping up. I don't even,
Yeah.
in fact, I don't know what my destination is. I don't
Well,
know,
you're walking towards it now. And I feel that's the difference.
but
Yeah.
it's with
Instead of running.
right, and I don't have a hold to the outcome. You know, I'm
Hmm.
just enjoying the hell
Yeah.
out of life.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it makes sense. Makes complete sense. Yeah. Complete sense. I went and saw Wayne Dyer before he passed. It was the coolest, most and that was back. I saw him the first time with you in
Yeah,
Atlanta. Remember?
yeah.
We went to
Oh,
Atlanta.
remember, yeah.
Yeah, that was like the first time I was so exposed to all this stuff because I was in such a I was raised in a very just Bible belt home. Everything was church, church, church. And not that that's good, bad, right, or wrong. I'm grateful that that's where people find their space. For me, I always felt out of place. I felt like there was more. I would stay confused going, well, when is it unconditional? If it's unconditional love, then it's unconditional love. So why are we putting stipulations? I couldn't get all that to fit in my brain. And so anyway, I was exploring just my belief system, what it was I was going to believe. And you and I went off to that LaHaye or what was her
No,
name?
no. It
What
was
was not LaHaye?
no Louise Hay.
Louise Hay. It was Louise Hay. It's the We Can or You Can. And it was
You can
Wayne
do it.
Dyer yeah, you can do it. Wayne Dyer was there.
Brian
Um,
Weiss.
Brian Weiss was there. It was a crazy weekend. So the first night we get there, we head to the bar to go drink. But
Oh,
remember,
of course. I mean, that was every
we head
night.
to the bar, we get our wine, and then Tricia goes, I'm going to manifest some muscles. Do you remember this?
I didn't say exactly that. Man, I wish I
Yes, you,
had. Did I? Okay, maybe so.
you said, I wish I
Oh,
had some muscles. We're sitting at the bar and you say, I'm going to manifest them. I literally looked at you and I went, yeah, right. No lie. The guy comes right out of the kitchen with a tray. Hey, I have these. Somebody ordered them, didn't want them. You want them. And it was a whole thing of muscles. I
it
just went,
was because this person next to us had the mussels and they looked fabulous, and I've never had them. And I was like, damn, I want to try those, but they were like $40 or something. We'd already eat dinner, so I wasn't gonna pay $40 for some dang mussels. And then
well,
he came out. Did anybody order these? Oh, okay. Well, y'all can have them.
there you go. I remember I was just like, well, what? So anyway, we go to that. I see Wayne Dyer. I'm completely enthralled by Wayne Dyer at this thing. And so I bought every book, and I just really started studying it. Brian Weiss, it was my first past life regression, which I thought was hokey, cheesy. Yeah, right. None of that's going to work. And after that experience, I was like, whoa. And I even got on after what I saw. I went and Googled it because it was like I was in the 16, it was like 1604. I remember my shoes. I remember everything I was wearing. Shoes they wear in 1604. I have no clue what their clothes look like. We come out of that thing and I literally Googled it. It was the exact same shoes. It was like crazy.
I know.
Yeah, it was crazy. But I say all of that to say, going back to the spontaneous sobriety, I chose to go to see Wayne Dyer in Maui from that trip. So I was going to go by myself. It was my first retreat. I was just taking on life because remember, I was just coming out of my second divorce. And I was like, good grief, my life is, something's got to change. And I get over there to Maui.
I didn't know you did that.
I did it. I did.
Wow. Okay.
Did it. And I went to Maui and it was just an incredible life-changing trip. And he walked down the aisle. And here's the thing about Wayne Dyer. You had a title, but he was so in the moment for any time he spoke. It was whatever the energy was in the room is what he went with. And that's what made it so empowering, because it wasn't, oh, here's your book, we're going to follow, fill in the blanks. Nothing like that. He just went for the moment. But he shared very similar as the story of sobriety, because he drank, he did all types of stuff, and then
Oh,
got away from all of it. And he knew in order for him to be the empath, everything that he was, he had to get rid of all of that in his life. But it happened instantly. It was
yeah.
just one, it was like walking right out of it. So
It,
I, I do still have my wine. I do still have my beer. So I'm waiting for my instant sobriety.
well, you know what? It doesn't bother me. I can still put on a cocktail party, and I'm gonna I make a damn good mocktail. I'll tell you that. And then
I
always
said to
have.
Jason, I said, I bet you she does awesome mocktails.
Oh, I do. Now I don't do them often. I just do them just like I would if I was having, if I have a
Yeah.
cocktail party, I'll have this great mocktail that all we have to do is add the liquor for everybody else. I've got this beautiful bar that the cabinet shop built for me, and it guess what? It got installed right after I became no
Sober.
drinking. I don't even want to call it that because you know what
It's
I
not even
said.
sober. Well, you sober it up, but yeah, go ahead and call it.
But
But
well, what it is that even then I said I'm never going to say I'm never drinking again because if I want to have a drink, I'm a grown adult. I'll have a drink, but I
yeah.
just never wanted to. And Joe's may had some drinks of something, and he'll go, "Oh, this is really good. Taste it." And I'll go, "Okay," and I'll taste it, and I'll think, "Oh, I know it. It was a bushwhacker." If y'all
Oh
hadn't had a
yeah.
bushwhacker,
Yeah.
bushwhacker is a frosty with alcohol, basically, and
Yeah.
it'll kick your butt. But anyway, I tasted a sip of it. I was like, I'd rather freaking have a frosty. Isn't that weird?
No, it's good. It's just where you're at. That's awesome.
Who
Yeah.
knew? Who knew? Oh, I can I tell you one thing? When we went to see Wayne Dyer and Brian Weiss
Yeah.
and Louise Hay, all of them, Carolyn Meese,
Yeah. Carolyn Mice was there. I started
right?
her stuff, and Richardson, Cheryl Richardson was
Yeah.
there. It
I
was
mean,
so
it was
good.
power packed. How we
Yeah.
ended up at that, but anyway,
And
we
you
were.
got us right on the front and told us we were going to sit on the front, and down we went.
I am a very powerful manifester, just so you know that. I mean, really, anything,
It is.
every dog.
Yep.
But anyway, so we were standing in line to get Brian Weiss's autograph on Many Lives, Many Masters. And we ended up talking with this woman who had the fabulous accent, and it's our
Yes.
now dear friend, Mel, and
Mel.
Mel Brown, who's married to Michael Riddell, and Michael was there as a guest author. And so anyway, we
Hmm.
were in this long line, and by the time we got through with the line, we were like, let's have lunch. So we have lunch, and then I said, well, y'all come to visit, and I'll be danged if they didn't. So they've been to visit me twice now. I've had the Australians stay
Yep.
at my house, and so we got to go. She just released a book. Did you know that?
Oh, I did not know that. Oh, that's awesome. No, and every time they've come, I either wasn't available to see them or anything. We need to go to Australia.
Oh, absolutely. But I got to show you let me show you her book. Can I
Yeah.
go get it?
Okay, get it. Yep,
Hang on a
get it.
second. It's called Shades of Me by Mel Brown.
Okay.
You
Oh,
see it?
wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it's not about, she's very powerful, intuitive, and she can read
Yeah.
people's past lives and everything. But anyway, it says my many lives through many dreamings, but it's all about her being Aboriginal, but having to grow up as being white,
Mm,
and when
yeah.
it was not cool there or accepted to be Aboriginal, but she writes it as if you're sitting there talking to her. So it's like yeah, I love it. But anyway, so we met her at that thing. That whole weekend was magical, and it's hard to even know when you're going to experience something that's that magical until you're looking back on it, going, "Wow."
Wow.
I
Yeah.
mean,
How
look at
did
all those people we saw. Do you
yeah.
also remember Spanx? Sarah, what's her name?
Yes. And then she's on what's the Shark Tank now? I'm like, hey, we
Well,
sat.
she was in the audience there to see
That's
Wayne
yeah.
Dyer, and he said, "Oh," and she was just becoming really big then, I guess, or
Yep.
Spanx was, and he called her up on stage. I think, didn't he?
Yep.
Am I
They
remembering
did.
correctly?
Hmm.
But I mean, she wasn't. there as a guest speaker. She was just in the audience like all the rest of us, you know?
Like the rest of us. Yep. She was right down our row. That was
Yeah.
crazy. Yep.
Mhm.
And she went up there. Yeah. That whole event was magical. That's a good word, because it was just my first exposure to more, right? To the whole quantum
Quantum.
piece. Yes.
So, how did we get to Your Life Redefined?
Yes. So this is Debbie and Tricia, and we are all about your life redefined. How did we get to that? You and I were just talking one day, and I think we were just talking around the word, and it's about redefining your life. And that's boom, where it came from. And when we
But
saw that,
and this too, and this is going to be, this is a big part of it with people that we may have on the show,
yeah,
on the podcast,
which
is
we
that
need to have Mel Brown on our podcast for sure. Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Even though
Absolutely.
it's way different time zone, but she'll get up
We'll
earlier.
figure it out.
We'll do it. But also, it was about people who almost everybody that I know, or everybody that I know, actually, who's had some devastating, horrible event. If they just keep going, they'll be able to get past it. And then they look back and say, you know what? I'm happy that that happened. I've had one friend who,
Yeah.
now I'm not saying anybody welcomes cancer or something like that, but our
Hmm.
hairstylist,
Hmm.
Chalet, she
Yep.
she got cancer, and I remember when she came back after it still was, it was like an uncurable kind, right? And went, oh,
Yeah.
my cat. When she came back, and I went in, not knowing what to say, or and she said, you know what? If you ask me if I would rather be the person I was before I got cancer or who I am now, I would take who I am now. So I'm glad that I got it. And she said, that's hard to say. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah. 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 She's amazing. She's come up here to visit me a couple times in her journey. And it's been, yeah, she's amazing. And she's awesome for where she is and
That's another
all
one
that
we
she's
got
been
to
through.
have.
We do. We got a lot of people to have on our thing. The thing too about redefined, it's been a journey for you and I, right? So when we first came up with the name Your Life Redefined, how many years ago was that? 12 years ago, 13 years ago? Who
13,
knows?
I want to say. You got quiet all of a sudden.
I'm quiet.
Oh, there you go. That's better. Yeah.
Probably need to talk directly into the microphone. Is that better?
Yep.
Is the cat getting you?
Yes, he's just calling my word. Oh my
You
gosh.
okay?
I'm probably
I'm sorry.
bleeding.
Uh-oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Um, and so 13 years ago, you and I came up with the name Your Life Redefined. And if you remember our first logo, it was the vines were all brown and how they came into the color of just redefining your life. And for me, I told you after my first divorce, that was a phrase came to me like divorce redefined.
Oh, that's right. That's
Remember
right.
we did all the topics. It was just so whatever you cancer redefined. I mean, whatever those things you go through, how do you take them and redefine them for you versus against you? And that's energy, right? Energy has advantages, disadvantages on each side. If you don't know that though, right? You take anything negative, catabolic, whatever you want to say, and have it work against you. It's designed to work for you. If you life happens what to us or for us?
For us. For
Yep.
us. Yay.
So that's what redefine is. So it's whatever, and it's redefined. Since that time, for me, it's now gone into four re. I love how you and I do re words like retreat, right?
Remember. Gathering all the
Right.
members.
Right, right. So the four words that I put together, before you can redefine, you have to be able to recognize, right? And when you recognize what triggers you, or you recognize you're in something that's throwing you off, you recognize what's not energizing you or what is energizing you. Because if you recognize it, recognize it. No, that's what Tigger says. I recognize you. But if you
Recognize it. That is
if you
recognize, yeah.
if you recognize what is, whatever the is, then you have the choice. Do I want to redefine this or do I not? And when you redefine, it allows you to embrace it. But then once you recognize, redefine, what do I need to release that is no longer serving me? Right. A lot of times it's no longer serving you because there's so much more. There always is so much more, right? We're leveling up. We're always moving up. And then replace. And that's the cycle. When you for me, that's what I've really realized. It's always and it does this. It's a spiral. It's always the spiral, and it just is going and going and going and going and going.
Yes, and it is all
Mm-hmm.
energy. Something you just
So
said, when you recognize, you can choose to replace. Okay, so that connects in with when I'm doing these, excuse me, past lives.
yeah,
When somebody has brought forward into this lifetime something that they experienced in the past lifetime, when they recognize that, oh, I don't
yeah.
need that in this current lifetime, you know, they're able to release it. I have one who has, what's it called? Where their hands are real crippled up. Arthritis.
Arthritis.
Yeah, really bad
I'm.
arthritis.
Are you milking a
Sorry,
cow? Did
I'm
you?
so sorry. I'm so sorry. But anyway, whenever we did the session in a past life, it was so detailed. She was, oh my God, she was a beautiful person to watch. Um, she was a seamstress for her whole life and did tiny little stitches, tiny little stitches. And and she doesn't sew in this lifetime, but when she recognized it, we go to the higher self, we go to the connection, and when they recognize what it is, then she doesn't have to have the pain. She doesn't have to have it
Mm,
anymore because that was from she didn't even need to bring that forward. We all
right.
we all do something like that.
Leave it back there. That's crazy. I know. I can't wait to go through that experience with
I
you.
can't wait
Just to
for
be, I
you to do
know,
it.
to just gain more and gain more. I know. It's awesome. And I believe that we are in eternity. And I learned that with you and in my journey with you when I realized that, right? I recognized that I was able to redefine this as strictly just it's another step of eternity. We're here.
This is just
Um,
the container for our ego, basically. But
mhm.
really, we're so much. You know how, like, when you walk into a room, or some people who can read auras. I'm not able to do that. But you can
Yeah.
feel the energy of a room when you walk in. You don't have to be
Yeah.
touching somebody to feel their
Feel it.
vibe. Well, I know Debbie and I can never run out of things to talk about. We've been saying we were going
Nope.
to do this from sitting across from each other at her island at when she lived back in LaGrange,
Yeah.
however many years ago. So we'll be doing this till infinity
Infinity and
and
beyond.
beyond
To infinity.
and beyond. But I mean, yeah, because we know that we're here, we're going to be there, and we're going to do it
That's
again.
it.
We'll just
That's
wake up
it.
and go, oh
That's
man,
it.
that was fun.
That's it. That's awesome.